Got this Sabre in here, big old fifth wheel. Let's see what the roof looks like. A good looking coach. So we got these nice stairs right here. So when you come up, you want to take a look at your coach, you come up these nice stairs. Maybe you can get some Doritos. Alright. So this is what we got. We're just starting to get all the scaffold together. And that's something that's, I've seen some videos of the way the guys do some jobs, and this is the way you want to do it. You can't keep bouncing around on a ladder. So I know we had some issues with the repairs we did, and the customer come in, needed it for a week or two to do a small vacation. So we did some patching on here real quick for them, so they could take it, and then now it's in for the roof. This is breached all on the edge here. You can see how much caulking is right there. Wow. And this is a heck of a transition too. Coming around, so I'm gonna bring this camera back. But you can see how sharp that goes down. So we're more than likely we're going to have one piece come up here, and we'll have another piece go down that way, and we'll have a big weld right here. We'll have a big weld piece right here. Because the way this is shaped, it's coming up. It's got a little bit of camber, not much, but it still does. And then it's going to flatten out, and then it's going to want to come down. And that roofing, it's a structured membrane. It's a really strong membrane. It's not going to like that. It's going to have some fickleness going on. But it looks to me like when you come over this way, it's got more camber here than it does over in that end down there. And even right, obviously this is flat, but even this flat end, it doesn't have that much camber compared to this. So it kind of comes around that way. And again, the membrane will not want to do that, because you already have that angle coming up, and again that camber. Then when you come out this way and flatten out, you're going to end up with what's called fish mouths on here. You'll have it on here, but these are so shallow, probably won't even notice them very much. But on some of the other ones with the rounded shoulders, we got to do a fold, and then we do a fold, and we pull it back, and then we weld it that way. I don't cut them. I've seen some cut, and then they put these plastic pieces on there, but that's because they can't weld them. So, but you can see on the edge here, like there's really not any protection, and that's why these things have breached. You get one there, you get one there, these two here, and then on this crank up antenna, if you have one of these, go and check and see if you got a hole or a gap like this. What's going to happen is the water will trickle down here, and it'll get inside, and it'll get literally get in the coach. Now that's a vent. That is a useless vent. It does zero. Does nothing at all. It's I guess a marketing ploy so they can say, hey, it's vented. Well, if you don't have a draw coming from the lower end to pull some air through, just like your house, you have the ridge, and then you have your eave where your gutter is. You'll have your vent here. You got to have a soffit vent and a ridge vent on the top. So if you don't have that soffit vent, you're not going to get a draw. So there's Owens Corning and Lamanco. They have some videos up there on YouTube that explain it. But so actually, you know, that is absolutely useless. So and then what they want you to do at the manufacturer wants you to do is keep going around and dolling up more caulking, more caulking, more caulking. Look at here. You know, you don't need to be putting more on. The only one that's putting more on is a moron. I say that with love. But we'll even around here, you want to make sure that, you know, we'll be putting boots on there, but that's what they want you to do, is go around and put more caulking on, more caulking on, more caulking on. And it's just a ploy. That's all it is. The product is terrible. Could you imagine all these big commercial buildings, every few months, someone getting up there slobbering caulking on? They'd go broke. They couldn't afford that. That would just be ridiculous. But they do it on the RV because they know the system doesn't work. They know it's going to fail. Eventually, you're going to get disgusted with all the breakdowns on it that you can say, oh, I'm going to have to go buy a new one. Trade it in, get zero for it, and then you end up with another coach with the same problem. So, and they don't do it right from the factory to begin with. But these are common leaks right here, especially like these style coaches is right here in these corners. It's pretty common. This one seems okay, but we've done a lot where on the shoulder, this corner shoulder right here, where water will just pour down into the wall down there. So that's something to look for. I'll just give you an overview of what we got. Overall, the roofing material doesn't look too bad. But typically what we find is it's not usually the material as a rule that fails. It's usually something that makes it fail. Again, around the sealant around there that's caused some rot. But and this is aged. You can see all the spotting in it and everything. So that's and then again, there's not much protection on here. So what's going to happen is EPDM shrinks. EPDM rubber shrinks. And to prove that, if you go and look on like some of the windows, you'll see the gaskets around the windows that go right around the window on the exterior. You'll see it all shrunk up. But anyhow, and that's what I want. So you want to make sure you put some more on all around here. See? So like I said, overall for a roof, I gotta say this isn't the worst one we've ever seen, for sure. It's definitely not, which is great because now we get a new roof on it, and once we get a new roof on it, they'll be done. You don't have to mess with it. So like I said, it's we did a hideout very similar to this, the hideout, and that's what we had to do is put that transition on the hideout. We had some issues. Was it the hideout? There was another one we did. I think it was a Jayco Designer. We had some issues where this transition wasn't meeting up with this one, and it was really funky. So we had to put a piece of steel in here to join them, and then we put a protective piece over that piece of steel as well. But like I said, we're gonna have to get obviously some protection here, and you can see how high this is right here, and how high it is right here. But it's real shallow right there. So we're going to try and fish that out and make it go a little smoother. And you can see the same over here. See how high it is here? And then it goes here. We like to try to have it all even. So we may end up dropping this down just a bit if we can keep it all lined up nice. But that's our Sabre. And that's what we're going to be getting on here. Tearing this up and getting this down. I think we got a new antenna going on this as well. So we'll be back with more. All right, there's our Sabre. I'll give you an update over here. We got most of the roof off. Everything looks pretty well, but that's tender.
Yes, it is.
Watch this, my superhuman strength. I could go right through it. Right there, I tore the wood up. Super duper Joe vitamins right there. Guessing that kind of rot's head. So, and that's right there by the antenna. That's usually where we see them. So we're going to remove this section and replace this section. That's how they say it up in Canada. Section. It sounds fancy. So that's what we're going to do. We'll get the rest of this roof up too. And like I said, that needs to be our only problem piece. Okay, there's our joint right there. So we'll see what we got. We've got a whole bunch of scrap. If we have to change for a new piece, we will. Oh, we may be able to. I don't like this one either. Right here. Yep. So we'll end up going. We may be able to put a 4-footer in here somewhere, but if not, we'll replace 2 pieces, whatever it takes. That's how we roll here. We do it right. And I got a good gap here, but we're going to end up putting something over this so you don't have that. We don't want the roofing. You can see how the roofing is right there. We don't want that. That's what it is. Got that dip in it. We're not going to have that here. It's not going to roll. Look how low that AC is. Got all that water just pounding up against that little gasket up underneath. It's just a piece of 3/4 inch gasket. But what they did on here is there is another gasket, I believe, up front. So it's got kind of like a double deal. It's got like this first one's supposed to skirt away some of the water. If I can get this camera to come back. This first one's supposed to skirt away some of the water, and then the other one, I'll bet, is up underneath there. But obviously we'll have a curb up under it, so it won't be an issue again. So we shall see. Everything else so far seems pretty good, but we'll find out when we get going with it. This is our Sabre. This is where we had all that rot. So executive decision, we just tear it all up. So we're going to take these 2 sheets up. That's what we're doing now. We've got them loosened up right here. And then what we're going to do is make sure it's dry underneath there. Spray it with mold kill, whatever we need to, but we want to make sure that's nice and dry. If we got any wet insulation or damp insulation at all, it'll get removed, and then we'll replace it obviously with some fresh stuff. Again, we're going to check it out in a bit. So this is basically a radiant barrier, but there really isn't. Doesn't really work all that well in this application. It may do a little bit, but it's not the best application for this. Typically, there's got to be a cavity between the aluminum and the decking. So that's typically, it would have to be more like that so it could really reflect and get its full potential. But it's better than nothing, I guess. But it's pretty common that we've seen stuff like that. So this feels pretty dry. There's nothing in there. Pull this one up. So this is where a lot of it was. Because that's a mush right there. You can see how mushy that is. Let's see what we got here. That's dry. So this probably saved it. A lot of it got absorbed. It didn't look like it was the worst leak we've ever seen. It was more soft. It was probably at the verge of being a problem. But we might have just caught it in time. Because it's kind of damp. Like I said, we're going to take this up right here. We're also going to move this antenna up over that way a little bit more to the center of the coach, up that way. So. Are there any screws in it still?
Oh yeah. We just couldn't find some of them. Yeah,
okay. We'll get this out, and like I said, we'll end up putting some new decking down on it. That's where we're at with the Sabre. We'll be back.
Be careful across there.
This is our Sabre. We're coming over here for an update. Well, you always say this is this one, this is that one, because so when they pull the videos off the camera, then they know what clip it goes to, what video they're making. This is what we got. So we had these pieces here. These are the ones we pulled out and we replaced them. So we got them down. And we're about to rock and roll and get this on here. So 2 new sheets. The next step is we're going to put some protective strips on here. We'll put them on here. So all this has been glued down, glued, screwed, and tattooed. So we've got it all down there. That's about us. So that's our plumbing. We got another one over that way. So we're trying to move along. You can actually see some of the adhesive. We use a foam adhesive. Boy, that stuff sticks well, real well. That's it. They just put the screws back in here. There's a truss assembly in here, the aluminum, so that's why we had to use those screws. And we put them, the same screws in. Normally we don't, but in this case we did. Because when we were on the other side, we noticed they had some wires in there, and we wanted to make sure we used enough shallow screws to not pierce those wires. So, but that's that. That's why we use them. And see, all they did here was protect it with tape. We're going to be putting on a protective strip. It'll be the same roofing. It'll just roll over. And then, but I mean, this doesn't really do anything. It's just duct tape. How cheap can you get? You know, you spend a lot of money on these things, and you know, no one knows that that's under there trying to protect it. That's, to me, it's kind of crummy. I don't know. We're gonna put some roofing on there. The same roofing we use for the main deck. It'll just, we take and cut it in strips. So, and we'll be putting them on the edge here to protect that corner. So when the coach is kind of racking and twisting and flexing around, that it won't chafe it. And then we'll also be putting them on here, just in case you have a couple little screws that, for whatever reason, want to work loose or if there's any chips or anything. It's just a precaution. Always err on the side of caution. It's just the right way to do things. It doesn't take very long and just makes the job last that much longer, you know. And then even like around the back, that would be a sharp edge right there too, especially when it's racking back and forth. It would almost act like a saw, and it would end up causing a breach there. But there is a turn bar that goes around the top there, so but that's where we're at. Give you a glance down this other side, and that's, so you can see all the adhesive we used here, and again more tape there. They use this drywall mesh right here. This was their way of kind of covering that seam, and the whole idea to it was to try to balance it out so the roofing wouldn't have a dip. Remember I showed you this here? That's what they did there to try to span that. I mean, why couldn't they use at least a few layers of this fancy dancy duct tape on there? You know, somebody up there at the corporate office is saying, no, if you only need 20 feet of tape, that's all you get. You don't get 20 feet, 3 inches. That's it. All you get is 20. I'm pencil pusher. And they're saving every penny. That's what they do on these RVs. They literally figure out how much it costs them, and if they can shave a few cents off of these things, they will. I mean that literally. They will shave it, and they won't use enough adhesive. They will only use absolutely possibly. That's it. That's all you need. Give us a one to get it by 1 year, and then when they find out, what they'll do, and I've noticed, is that they'll cut corners again to see if it'll make it past that year. And if it does, and they don't get a lot of warranty complaints, then they continue with that path. So now it's even worse than what it was. And they'll keep making them as cheap as they can until they get that 1 year down so tight that they know they can't even shave one more off of it, you know, off of the installation of whether it be materials or labor. And that's the other part. They not only look at the materials you put on here, you know, the tape is cheap, but they're going to have to pay somebody to put it on. You know, it takes a guy another few minutes to do it, and they calculate that in there. That's a shame. I mean, that's the way the RV industry, you know, that's just the way they are. So you can see there's some wires, but they're up underneath there, you see, but that's the aluminum truss assembly there. So I wanted to make sure, you know, always err on the side of caution. That's just the way we do things here. Seemed to be well insulated. It had that foil on there, on the, over the truss assembly there, they call it a radiant barrier. But anyhow, so that's our next step. Put the strips on, let's prep it, get some roofing on here. All right, what we're doing now, we've already got the right side all glued down. And now that's what we're doing, is gluing the left side. Mopping her up. We got all our protector strips in here, you can see. You can see them all there. We've got all those in, one running up the shoulder there. So that's where we are so far. Alright, this is our big old fifth wheel Sabre. What we're trying to do is get this other side of the roof rolled out so it looks nice and pretty. Oh, a real pretty looking roof.
I'm not sure if that much glue, it glues back together.
What were you talking about?
So that had so much glue on it, glues back together.
That's right.
The sheet does.
We'll glue it. Glue her. You can see all the sheen on that. Adhesive. You gonna give it a try? Their fancy dancy balance roller that I made. That's fancy. So you can pull that, roll it all the way over. Yeah, we'll get it. So this is what happens when you roll it. Then, see, this is a burp on the, what I call bird's mouth, or fish mouth rather. It's some sort of creature's mouth, but we'll have to get this and tuck and fold it. But you have this camber going this way, and then you got it coming up this way, and then it flattens out here, and then it's still going this way. The membrane doesn't really like doing all that. It just doesn't work. So on this other front here, we need to put another piece. We're going to heat weld this one together, so it'll be fine. But there's no way, you're definitely not going to get all three of these sections done in one shot. Not on a angle like this. That is too aggressive for that. This is heavy commercial roof. This isn't that cheap RV stuff. So we gotta kind of massage it and love it and care for it and tell it we love it so it does what we like. Maybe even send it flowers. So, but let's see if we can get that other piece down, and then we're gonna get her together. All right, quiet on the set. Quiet on the set. Got production going on. Okay, what we got? Curves welded in. We got them all welded in. Starting to set the turn bar. We still need to cut the remnant of the roofing down below here. So we have to do that. We got screw cap cover going in this. So we got all that going on. And we've got our boots right here. We got those. We got those put in. And then we got this other curb put in, another boot. So I think we got one more boot possibly in there. I'll check. So I just made up this curb here. We got to put that in. And then we got the front here as well. And like I said, we had to do this in 2 pieces, but I welded this all the way back 4 inches. So if that really does come apart, it must have been a big old hurricane, a tsunami or something. And probably not going to be much left of the coach. It'll be gone. So, but it's got a big weld on there. And then we still got an antenna, a wine guard antenna we're going to put on, and we got those boots over there that we're going to be using right there. We'll be using those in here. So we'll get those welded. Still got, as you can see, we got vents to put in. So I may get a, I'm going to go do that. Maybe I'll get something to show you how good these curbs work and how they really displace a lot of the water that would be coming. But I may do that with a blower. Let me go see if I can do that for you. Alright, so this is just a piece of cardboard. I just got a little blower here. See how you do it, it'll just blow around, right? So I'm just trying to show you how easy it is. But now when the water comes up here, it gets diverted. If that was the water rolling, so right now the air is blowing up and hitting this and coming back out. And to show you that, I'll show you that easier because it'll get pushed out. See if I can do it this way. Got a bend in that cardboard. This is not a good demonstration. It just pushes it. It just, all that air is just circulating right back out. That's what's happening. So get this one, we'll even show a better one. See how that moves? Because the air is kicking it. There's my demo. Hey, even show you again, instant replay. Go real slow. I don't know all that fancy stuff with slow motion and the time lapse and all of that. It's just a simple camcorder to show you how we put the roofs together. I don't have the time to try to learn all that videography. We just want to get you the meat and potatoes so you can see what we put together here. But anyhow, that's how the curves work, just like that. So when the water comes down here, it'll hit up. If it was a really gushing water and it was really raining hard, it would just hit here and just roll out. That's what I'm trying to show you. Hopefully I did. And then, like I said, we're still putting on that. We're working over there, trying to get that corner assembly together. So it's coming together. It's coming together. We just still got the smaller stuff to do. So you can see we have the adhesive behind this rail. This is a gutter. So the roof comes down. This is what I call a termination bar because it terminates it. On a commercial level, that's what it's called, termination bar, because the roof is being terminated. So like I said, we'll be cutting this right off. But we got all that caulking right behind there. There's a lot of it. So it oozed out. And then it seals all the screws as well. The screws get all wrapped with the product. And it twirls around the heads. That's what I like to see, like that. So we'll be doing the same thing all the way down there and getting all of the... We also actually, on this, we got these stainless steel screws in here. They're going into this aluminum frame. So we'll get all this together. And then we have that big transition. I already showed you that up there. So we're moving along, just kind of giving you a good update here on what we do and how we do it. So that's the antenna we'll be putting on right there. That's a wine guard. they're pretty good antennas, from what I'm told. I don't know. As much as I've worked on all these campers, the fact of the matter is I've never camped. Ever. So I just work on them and give them back. That's what we do. But that antenna is going to go over there where that wire is, right there. So it'll go there, and I'll have boots. I designed boots up. See, I walk around the other way. That's what's great about like the way we got things set up. You can just walk right around the whole coach. Nice and comfortably. You got safety rails. Go all around. So these are the boots that we made up, and these will get screwed into the roof deck. So once they get screwed down, that'll stay tight. Obviously we heat weld all this, and then on the wind guard, I'll bring one of these with me. See the foot? The foot right there, those feet, there's a hole. That hole right there in particular will be sitting right here, and it'll be elevated up off the roof line. Now you get water going through there, you know, underneath it, and you can wash underneath there. You don't have to worry about this thing overheating because it's real tight to the roof. You don't have to worry about any other leaks either. Now, the other advantage to the way I do these is if this ever fails for whatever reason, you need to replace it. Oh, all you need is a 1/2-inch wrench. Take this off. Once you unscrew that, all three of them, undo the coax to the antenna and pop it off. And then you can do the same, put the new one back on, screw it back down. It would take you longer to buy one of these and check out at the store than it would be to take one off and replace it. So that's where we're at. We'll be back. This is the insert trim. This is something that I do not like. You can see it right there. This is plastic cheap stuff. And what happens, the way it goes, is it snaps in here. And the whole idea to it, if I can do this one-handed, see how it snaps in? You go, hey, that don't look so bad. Well, here's the problem with it. See how it snapped in that track right there? Right in there. See it? Okay, it snaps in there. Water can still get in that track. Even though it'll cover those screws right here, water can still get in that track. And especially on like one of these, water will get in and it'll roll all the way down here and it'll find its way. Moisture does. So, like I said, that's not good stuff. I want the good stuff. Now, you can buy some other stuff in white, which we use on some of the other coaches. And I said, I need some other stuff. Well, they do not make this. This product you're seeing is not on the market, literally. I had to special order this stuff. Now, if you look at this, it'll snaps inside the track. Let's pull that out a little bit, Ed. Let me see the end of that. I'm going to show the end. See the end of that? See how it's got a little groove? You see that little groove? Right there, it's got a little groove. And that little groove, there's one on each side. It goes inside and outside on this right here. Inside and outside. So now the water can't get in. But in order to buy that, I had to buy 10,000 linear feet of this stuff. But it works. So I don't want it to leak. I don't want any reason to why we can't do it. But they had to special order that. And they don't make it in black, which blew my mind because I figured the RV industry would have it. And the company we got the white from, everybody would call it, nope, can't get it in black, can't get it in black, can't get it in black, can't get it in black. And I said, that's crazy. So there's got to be a way to get it in black. They said, yeah, if you want to buy a whole ton of it. So that's what we did. We have enough to last us probably about 3 years, but at least coach will be done right. So like I said, I'm just amazed that they don't have that. That insert track, it's just an economy track, this here. Now, I'm not going to replace it all, but that's the economy track right there. You know, we're going to just go all the way down there with it. I mean, granted, this matches, but they paint all that when they do it. So, but we just wanted to show you, we go out of our way to make sure that is done to the best of our ability possible. Quiet on the set. All right, we're coming along with our Sabre. We've got our logo put on there. So that means we're coming down to the end of it. We've got our first strike of our caulking on here. So there's a couple other things we need to do. Is we need to put the counter flash up under here. So we need to do that. And then we've got a radio antenna that we got to weld in right here. We got a boot for it. So this will get secured down there. The antenna will sit on top. And then we're going to load the antenna. Just like we loaded like these pipes right here. And that's what we're doing over there, is welding that pipe in, that pipe boot. So we got that to do. And then the other last bit we got to install that wine guard. And that's what we're doing right here. So I've got the 3 boots, and it's got these bases that go with them. And I think I went over how those bases work. So you'll see all that come together. This is the plumbing right here. I don't see how that's ever going to leak. Now we put a bell cap on there. It'll have springs, and the springs will snap right inside there. Those are the ones we use. So even if a branch took it off, this still can't leak. There's just no way. There's no way it could get in. Water obviously can't get around here. But now on a typical one, they have a base, and then they have the cap on there. When the cap is popped off, you got that big hollow in there, and that's usually how they leak. But on here, they can't. So actually the water, if it ever rained out, obviously it would just go down in the pipe to the holding tank. So you'd never get water in there at all. So that's where we're at so far. We're just, like I said, just starting to finish up a little bit. I think we got another piece of trim to do, and that's about it. So we'll show you how we're coming along here in just a minute. Just giving you another update as we're going along. But see, this is the first strike right here. That's the first one. So we got another one going on top of there. Plus this piece here we put the same adhesive caulk behind it. So that's been screwed on. It's burped up. When it burped up from being screwed on, then we strike it down, and then we go back and we put yet this strike on, and now we're going to go over this. So that's what we're going to do here in just a little bit, and we'll get this thing ready for the prom. Right, so what we've got the boots laid out, and then you can see we've got the bases in there with the bolts. And then we put them in with these big screws right here. So that's what's going to hold it all down. And we're just trying to line it up, make sure it's lined up. And then these feet right here, these feet right there will sit on top of those bolts. Okay, what we're doing now is we're trying to get this counter flash up underneath this lid right here. That's what he's working with. Thank you, sir. So all this flashing, all it has to do is go down past the flange right here. It'll come past this, so when the water rolls down the lid, it'll get down here. I don't want it to get into the foam gasket that's up underneath here. See it? We don't want to do that. It'll push it down this way. And all we do is just secure it back in. Get it to seat in there. So we got some nice black aluminum on there. He's just using that as a starter. It's one of those self-tapping, so he's just using it to drill a hole through the aluminum, and then he's going to put the regular screw that goes to the unit right here. That's it. Easy peasy. That'll push all the water that comes down. We'll hit that and it'll roll out. That looks nice and clean. There we go, all torqued in there. Now we're gonna take those nuts off of there, which trial fit it. You can take the nuts off of there if you want. We're gonna do a dry run here, make sure everything lines up a little bit. You may have to encourage them to come over just a tad. See if we can pull that one in. You can loosen up that screw if you needed to. There we go. Get that other one. Box out of my way.
I got it.
That help? Try and pull it over. We'll get them lined up. We'll have to do an adjustment. So what we did is we just made the holes a little big. They were so tight that there wasn't even any wiggle room at all on this. There we go. Now it's all seated on there. Also got galvanized bolts coming up through there. So we're just going to balance that piece out again. And then she's ready to weld. Looks like you need to go in, go in, go in, go in.
Outside this end?
Yeah, so you can slide it. There you go, right there. That's you. That's you right there. Just rotate it till your lines line up that we made.
Yeah, but
right there. That's it.
They're parallel, but they ain't.
Well, that'll be all right. It'll still be good. Okay. Yep. So now what we're going to do is, now that we got all that squared away, we can put that screw back in, and then we're going to start welding them. There we go. That looks good. Put the screw in there. Looks good from here. You got to probably change that tip though. What we're doing right now is we're putting the second strike on. We've already got the first strike. We're going back with another. So we'll just clean this up. We'll clean all that up afterwards, but we'll clean it all up so it looks nice. I got the second strap going on this front cap. This is the front of the coach. Right here. You can already see the first strike in there. Now we're on the back of the coach, and we'll put the second layer on the back of this turn bar. You can see the first layer right behind them. You always want to clean your gun tip. Every time if you have to stop for whatever reason, then you need to clean that tip. Alright, this is our Sabre. It is done. So we have got everything all welded in. We've got our logo on here. You can see that that's our website. February of 19 is when we installed this roof. So everything's been all heat welded. All these, there's all heat welded in here. And they all have, you know, the flashing detail. And then it also has counter flashing. And what counter flashing is, I think I already showed you that on a demonstration. It may not have been the best one, but it was one. But this is a counter flashing right here, and you can see that recession that I designed in there too. So anything that hits here is going to roll off. If it hits here, it's not going to get really back up there. It's going to want to drool off. We've got the stands on the back of the air conditioners. We've got those, and then we've got the boots. So these are, you know, portable sealers is what we use in here, and this is all commercial grade. So that's never going to leak. It's buried in there. So the brackets that go down there, they're the same as these ones here. And we actually went around the top of the ladder, obviously around the back. 2 strikes, we showed you that. We went around the lights to make sure that, you know, if anybody knows any leaks at all is not coming from the roof, should go around your windows, around. We even went down here You know, we did all that. We went around the top of the awning, but this base right here is the same that's inside down the bottom here, and we screwed it down in there, obviously to secure the ladder, and then we do a portable on there, and obviously it's all heat welded together. So we also went across the top of the awning right here, again, just to make sure. We'd hate someone call us up and say, hey, we got a leak. Well, it's not coming from the roof. We sealed everything we could. 2 layers across here, showed you that. And then we've got boots in there for the plumbing. We've got everything all welded. So when we weld all these, we've got a 3-inch weld on these here. This is 3 inches right here. We weld the whole thing. We don't just weld this little edge. The whole thing is. So it's going to be a heck of a water drop. Try to get through a 3-inch heat weld like that. So we tried. We had some. There's some brackets we had to put in here. Remember, I think we showed you that there was a gapping and so forth. We had to replace a couple sheets. So we tried to get this thing down as best we could. But this is a. I think there's a steel plate in here too. So it's you know, sometimes it is what it is. But as long as it's watertight, that's the main thing, right? We want it to look good as well. But we've got the same on these boots right here. And now all you have to do is undo those bolts. Excuse me, those nuts right there. If you ever had to replace that, you could just undo all 3 of them, pops off, and then you can set a new one on, and on the opposite side over there on that side is the coax. You just unscrew that and it's good to go. So we got a max air fan right in here, and then again we heat welded all around there. Same thing with all the flanges and those counter flanges on there, the counter and flashing on the top there, right here. So if you get driving water, even if, we'll say you get a heavy storm, you get a real heavy storm and it wants to drive up in there, well, it's not going to be able to get in there because it can't get past that. And that was that demonstration I was showing you there. That was a little cumbersome. So I think on the other side, one of the clips, when we were doing that, we were showing you, this is great about having all this scaffold, that we cleaned up that edge there. And I think we were up over here somewhere, and we were coming down, and there was a little bit of what I call bleed off on the caulking gun, which does happen, but we cleaned it all up, so it's all nice and clean now. And the same thing, we got the boot for radio antenna, and then the Skylight as well. So went around the Skylight, 2 layers, and then there's that coax right there on this right here. You can see it. That's the coax cable to the antenna. And then you get another plumbing here. These are bell caps, so if they pop off, if they get knocked off, if they do, you still don't have a leak. It's all sealed. You can't leak anywhere. But we just use these spring ones right here. They just snap right in. There you go. That's that. So that's about us on this Sabre. So she's about ready to roll. The next thing we do is we're going to take this scaffold, we're going to stretch it apart on both sides, and then we're going to open up the slide out, and we're just going to take a peek in there and see if there's anything we need to seal up. You know, if it's something simple, we're going to just put some caulking on it or something to make sure that it's not going to leak. Hate for someone to roll out and then go, hey, I got a leak on my slide out now, and it's something that if we could catch here, I'd like to do it. So we do that as a courtesy. If it does need any additional work, then, you know, we'd let you know. So here's the product right here. This is a 60 mil TPO product. This GAS brand called Everguard. And this product puts out, or shall I say, it reflects the most UV light of any product out on the market today, is this type of roof right here. So obviously we got a gray roof on this Sabre here, which is right there. And then we also offer the tan, and we offer the white. Now if you want a sample of these, just give us a call, contact us. Our info is right there on rvroofinstall.com. It's real simple. Contact us at rvroofinstall.com. But you can see our telephone number there as well, and we'd be glad to mail one out. But what this is a 60 mil commercial grade. It's a structured, this is a structured membrane. So you can see some of the weaving in here, and all those little squares, that's the weave. That gives it strength, and you can see some of the nylon that's on the side over here. See them? So that's what gives you your strength against punctures like maybe hail, or that may want to try to pepper the roof, or tree branches. In the event you did have a tree branch that was pretty good size and did poke a hole through this thing and breached it, we can put a heat weld patch on it the same way as we heat weld these. We can just make another piece. They call that a target. and we'll say it happened here, we'd put it right there for you and heat weld it in, and it won't affect your warranty. You'll be fine. And we'd be glad to do it for you if you bring it into us. So we don't mind doing that. But that's about it. So we're, like I said, the next thing we got to do is just check those slide outs. But she's ready to go, and it looks real good, real tight. Outside of some of the burps that I see, that again, that she's not gonna. It is what it is. You get some of these coaches, they have their own little fickleness sometimes. So we try to get them to lay as flat as it can. But I kind of got this OCD thing going on, and I like everything to be as absolutely perfect as perfect can be. It's just not realistic. So I say if you aim for the bullseye, you'll always hit the target, that's for sure. So, well, we appreciate you watching, and you can go to our website, rvroofinstall.com, and you could, from there, you can link over to our YouTube if you're not already on that. And also you can go to there's links there to Facebook if you want to read some reviews and things that we do. So, well, we sure appreciate you watching. Like I said, get any questions too, just give us a buzz, 423-475-ROOF.